What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Sitting across from me is...
I'm JP.
Man, that was a boring intro.
Just fucking say your name.
I'm Ryan.
I'm James, and we're the CineNerds. And so this is going to be, you said, a day after Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to stick with that Christmas theme, I think, one more time. What do you think?
Hell yeah.
This was technically, I guess, my pick, I would say. I mean, I'm the one we kind of talked about, but I told you I loved it. I don't know.
You picked it.
That's what I say. This was my pick.
This is absolutely.
I wasn't sure if it was like a me pick or if this was like a hey, let's just do it because it's a Christmas pick.
He mentioned you brought it up, and I was like, sure, let's do it. Let's change it up a little bit.
You actually said it at some point.
Yeah, I said I wanted to. Yeah,
you said do I get to pick a movie? If I do, I want to do the Grinch.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if that was really how this was rolling. So, if you don't follow me on Facebook, I would leave my Christmas stuff up all year. Halloween's stupid. Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving. I'm actually looking forward to Christmas dinner than I am Thanksgiving. We spend Thanksgiving at Disney Springs every year. Food's great, don't get me wrong. But we go for the Christmas decorations and all the trees and everything. And it's just usually me and Heather, so why make a big mess? And it's going to cost $100 to get all the food we need anyway. Why not go down there and just be catered to, basically? But Christmas, last year's dinner was my favorite dinner we ever had. And we're doing it again this year. All the sides, I can't remember everything she made. The cheesy potatoes, the this, that, the deviled eggs, but Chris from Flaw enlightened me on Buc-ee's. And you can just go in and get a pound of whatever meat they have, which brisket. So I called, made sure they were going to be open on Christmas. They were. And so I drove down there about 3 o'clock on Christmas Day, and I got 2 pounds of chopped brisket for about $53 with tax. Walked in, 5 minutes later, I was walking out. They threw it on the slab. Done. I was out. Extra sauce. Everything's good. And we made sliders, and it was amazing. And I've been salivating thinking about this again this year. With that being said, I always loved the original Grinch, the old 30-minute sitcom version. I didn't mind the Jim Carrey, but that was a time, in my opinion, where movies were, they always had to have like a weird feel to them. I don't know. It was just, I don't know. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't one of my favorites. And I don't know. That was not a Burton movie, correct? Okay, because it kind of felt like it sometimes, but I didn't think it was.
No, it's not a Burton movie.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I kind of felt his suit was not green enough. It was too dark green. It wasn't bright green. It bothered me. It has always bothered me. And then The Grinch came out in 2018. I'm a big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch. We did The Imitation Game. I think he's a great actor. Didn't know how he would be as a voice actor. He was perfect. In my opinion, perfect for the part. I loved, was it Keenan? Is that the...
Yeah. He played...
Why am I forgetting his name right now?
No, you're good. He played Mr. Bricklebaum.
Bricklebaum, that's it. Loved his character. But I like how they made it a full movie. It wasn't just the 30-minute quick one again. It was a different take on the story. Stayed to the storyline. That's why I picked it.
It's a nice little tie-in, though, even though it wasn't a Tim Burton film. If you were playing the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, you could do it real quick. So the Grinch theme song is Tyler, the Creator, and Danny Elfman. Nightmare Before Christmas, yeah. Tim Burton. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that Elfman was on that, and he helped Tyler bring out a decent version of the Grinch. But I was trying to tell this to my son today because he got really upset with me about this. But he was like, "Dad, I love the Tyler, the Creator version of the Grinch," and I'm like, that's the only part I didn't like about the movie was his version of the theme song. But it wasn't that I didn't like the song; it just was my least favorite element. So it wasn't bad, Gotcha. But it was good. First time watch for me, by the way. Definitely brought the Christmas spirit in me. Definitely loved every aspect of it. My son got mad at me actually because I told him I had to watch it yesterday, and his bedtime on school nights is 9. And I told him if 7 o'clock, come on down, we'll watch it. Well, we get to 7 o'clock and he's not coming down, and I'm not going to bother him with it, and I had to do other things. 9 o'clock comes around, and he's getting ready to go to bed, and I'm pressing play. You're watching this without me? I'm like, I have to for tomorrow. I'm sorry. So we're going to be watching this a lot more, though, because he loves it, genuinely. It's his favorite version of The Grinch as well.
So this is my second time watch. I watched this when it originally came out. I really enjoyed it the first time I watched it. This time through, it's okay. I don't know. I feel like for me personally, I would just assume watch the original Grinch if I'm going to watch an animated Grinch. And I think for me, it's a nostalgia thing. You know, I just prefer that original, older animated one.
I definitely prefer the original theme song, but to that point though, what I do enjoy about this, and this is the same running point I have for different fanboys and different groups, it's not about us anymore, it's about the kids.
Well,
and this is done perfectly for that kid.
That's where I was going with this. Was for me, I prefer the original. But it's nostalgia. That was what I grew up watching. This film was made for a younger generation to have their version of the Grinch. And for kids now, I understand why kids now would prefer this one over the original, because the animation's updated. It's longer than the original. You know, they're gonna latch on to this one like we did the original.
I liked everything with Sam. Wow. The dog. Wow.
Oh, Max.
Wow. Just blanked. I liked everything with him. All of his little things, everything he did to, make things work. I don't know. Like, it was just...
Completely agree. I did have one hope that didn't happen. One of my favorite aspects of this film versus the other Grinch movies was the creativity from the Grinch in his inventions and the gadgets. I liked how all that came around. Even the rooftop to rooftop little slide extension, slide over, the different tools that he gave to Max.
I love how the blow-ups and he just gets...
Yeah.
like that.
There was definitely cool things with that, but I was really hoping, like, I don't know, maybe just the full-out nerd in me. I wanted Max to get a fucking mech suit, because his little body pulling that giant sled. I was like, give this dog a mech suit already.
It would have fit for this movie.
It would have.
It would have fit for this movie for sure.
But I did like Fred. Fred
Fred was great.
Yeah.
The reindeer.
The screaming goat. Yeah. The screaming goat that scared away the 100 other reindeer. That was awesome.
Even at the end when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Fred on pressing the coffee, on the coffee press.
Yeah,
I do remember that. Yeah,
he stood on it.
I felt like the Grinch in the part where he allows Fred to lay in his bed, because I have a 120-pound Corso dog, and that's what it feels like when my dog lays on me. So I was like, that's too real. It's too real. One of the cool things I found out about this too was, so Cumberbatch, he essentially, they wanted him to keep an English accent when he came into this, and he was like, no, that doesn't seem right, doesn't fit right. So he did an American accent on purpose. I liked that, I appreciated it, but I also found out, and I didn't even think about this, so I didn't know that Boris Karloff was the original voice of the Grinch. I don't, for whatever reason, that escaped me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of cool, because giving it back to the Brits, if you will, that was the second time that a British actor portrayed the Grinch since the first one. So that was kind of a cool little paying respects and having fun with. Yeah, just, I don't know. This movie is great. I was a fan.
Good. I mean, I hate to say it. There's really not much to say about it. It's the Grinch. We all know the story.
Well, there's plenty. Like,
there's more added to this one that, yeah, you could dive into. I mean, I love that the little girl wanted to help mom because she saw how stressed out she was and stuff like that. This doesn't need to be some massive long episode about this, because it's a good kid movie. And I agree with you. It needed to be... we needed an updated version to keep the story going. There's tons of Christmas movies from when we were kids, all the stop animation, all that stuff, that like we as kids didn't even really watch because it was so old. And our generation of kids are not going to go back that far. So to keep certain stories moving on, this is what needs to happen.
Jess and I just downloaded. I hadn't used it yet, but there's some good shows that have actually been coming out on Apple Plus. So we downloaded that, threw it on the TV, and I didn't know that all the Peanuts, all the Charlie Brown specials are all on there, and so that kind of made me happy. But I would love to like you, to your point, to carry that on. I'd love to see some updated versions of those come out. I'd love to see some kind of new twist on those. They're perfect as they are.
Heather's been watching all the Camp Snoopies on Apple Plus.
I mean, a lot of that stuff's great. It is, but I would like to see, for the sake of carrying it on and keeping the kids interested, I'd see a newer, updated version of those. But I have to say, I do disagree about the Jim Carrey one. The Jim Carrey one was phenomenal to me. I loved it. It's honestly, that's the first place one to me. Jim Carrey immersed himself
that's
so
last
much.
For me.
That's fair. That's totally
I thought
fair.
he did a great job of being the grumpy dude, but everything around him I couldn't stand. The way they did it.
I don't know. I loved that start to finish. I had no issues. I liked all of it, and it's kind of the same movie, just minus the gadgets. So and soundtrack. I'll give soundtrack to this movie too. This soundtrack on this is phenomenal.
The Jim Carrey Grinch for me would be my second choice out of the Grinch movies, and honestly, this one would be my last choice.
But even with that order, they're all great.
Yeah, it's not. And me saying it's not saying that this one's don't watch it. It's a bad movie. It's just preference.
This Grinch, to me, the 2018 one is definitely the second place one. I like that. I think as much as I love it, it's just outdated. The original, the nostalgia one, that's third place to me. I'm sorry. I know I'm in the minority there, but yeah, just how I feel. So we all got a different order of this, so that's kind of cool. I don't know. I was huge on it, but let's talk about the soundtrack seriously. Danny Elfman worked with, obviously, Tyler. You had Nat Cole, Brian Setzer Orchestra, Brockhampton, Pentatonics, Run DMC. I liked that element too, because now you're not just presenting an old classic to kids. You're also bringing in quality musicians to them, and that means a lot to me, and I'm sure both of you as well. So that was kind of cool too. These weren't like B-list musicians. These were all quality ones and quality titles, so I was a fan of it.
Yeah. Some of the music choices were, it's just, again, updated.
Yeah.
For younger generation of today, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't say anything negative about the soundtrack that I can remember. For me, some of the song choices for me just felt out of place, but I was also still comparing it to the original. So that's why some of it felt out of place to me.
I just don't think you can do that. It's 50 years apart.
It's the same thing as us with comics and comparing those to movies, and they do the movie like you can't. Yeah, I get it. I agree.
This movie just became really hard for me to separate from the originals. That's my only issue with it. But that again, that's a me problem. That's not so much a problem with the film. That's a problem with me with being so latched onto that original.
How many times did you have breakups where you said it's not you, it's me?
Still doing it.
Okay, I don't. All right, we're not going to dig into that one.
No, a bad joke.
Wow, shit just got real.
I just think for me, I like that style of animation, so that helped.
Yeah.
I thought the new storyline was done well.
It was pretty. See, I felt like it was a good mix of the original and even the Jim Carrey one. It was kept the same. I mean, you can't really deviate much from what that original was.
No.
So, but
the thing is, it's so much longer, and the extra added stuff was good.
I think the Cindy Lou Who and her mom thing was huge right now. So if nothing else, so you've got the added element of the movie bringing it to the younger kids, but the lessons being taught in it. Like, I don't think enough kids think about their parents like that. And, one of the things that the Grinch had an issue with in this was the greed, the people needing more than they need, things like that. And this little girl throws it all upside down for him because she's essentially like, I just want my mom to be okay. And that a lot of kids need to really digest that for a minute, I think. Yeah. I think there's a lot of that missing in today's society. So
I agree with that. I don't. But then again, I don't think a lot of kids have their kids. I don't think they realize what's going on around them.
That's to me, that's up to the parents to bring to them.
Well, I think it's the parents' job to shield them.
Well, yeah, but so my kids, to me, like, I've always been open book with them completely. We obviously some things we save for when they're older, but I shielded them, but I also was honest with them and telling them how things should be, how you should take care of family, and how you need to be. Like, I don't just want my kids to think, like, here's everything. You guys can do whatever you want, fuck all. Because I feel like there's a lot of kids that are their iPad babies, and their parents don't want to deal with them, so they're on their phones, the iPad's in their face, the computers are in their faces. Those things change how we all interact. And so, to me, like, caring about what person you're impacting by simple little actions, like her caring about her mom, seeing what her mom's going through, and I hope kids grasp that in the movie and they see these things. And if they're not grasping it from a movie, then that's where parents come in. Like I said, it's a good time to pause the movie and point out what's happening, and let that kid know. So
I agree with that.
Getting deep post Christmas.
Happy holidays.
I was pretty pleased the other night. We had a comedian that came in through the Agora, and my daughter told me, her and her boyfriend, this is my oldest daughter, she's 26, told me that they wanted to come to the show. I got them into the show, and then they stayed and we chatted for like an hour afterwards. They hung out at my office and we just chatted. And at one point, my daughter goes, "Hey, Dad, thank you for how you raised me." And I was like, "What?" Like,
I actually wrote my parents letters for Christmas a couple of years ago, and my dad said, "I'm good. That's all I needed. Don't ever get me anything else."
Oh, that's perfect. That's awesome. That's you hear about guys saying, "I don't need anything. I just want to have Christmas with you guys, like with my family," and it's the truth. At the end of the day, like those little moments. Even with my kids getting older, like I was called the helicopter dad. I was called too much dad. All that, all these things. They argued with me, and now that they're young adults. The proudest moment, I don't need the kids to be doctors. I don't need them to be rocket scientists. I just need to put people in this world that aren't assholes. And my kids are all kind-hearted. They all care. They all, love one another, take care of each other, care about family. Those things matter to me more than anything. And so, like, when she said it to me, though, I was like, okay, I did something okay.
That's why everyone's like, "Oh, I can't believe you're driving back." I'm like, dude,
no.
I'm going to drive.
Amazing.
I would rather drive. If I get tired, pull over for 2 hours and take a nap and finish driving, then wait until in the morning and waste a whole day.
Yeah, I got you.
When I could take a nap in the evening, drive all night while they're sleeping, and if I get home and I'm tired, take a nap. But at least I have the evening to hang out. That's just where I'm at right now.
I fully support that.
I'll be napping.
That's been so on the flip of where you're at with that too, like with the kids all being older. That's a weird thing for us is, holiday time, trying to balance the significant others and them spending time with them. Because my greedy dad self, I'm like, nope, mine. I made you. I brought you into this world. You come to my house. I'm priority. But I have to let go of that, and I have to be accepting and understanding. So we've tried to make the holidays more brunches so they can go in the evenings with the others, and it's worked out. So we found that balance. So my wife, to that point, though, she did say for a certain holiday, she's like, "We're just going to leave it open-ended and people can come over whenever." I'm like, no. I go, 5 o'clock comes around, I'm in power save mode, and I'm sitting in that chair, and my beer's in my hand, and that's it. Sorry. I go, we're not doing that.
I don't want to know. I don't want to be wondering when are they showing up? Like, let's figure this out.
Yeah, that's...
Like, let's have a plan.
This is the food.
So I know when it's over.
This is the food. This is when
I'm
I want to clean up.
I'm not going to make food that has to be under hot lamps all day. Like, plan it out. Call it a day.
Interesting choice, I thought, for this movie with Pharrell being the narrator. I didn't dislike it. I thought I was going to be put off by it.
I thought I was going to hate it too, and actually, the more I've watched it, the more I...
Yeah, he did it just right.
Well, he'll keep kids entertained. He'll keep kids, paying attention. Having just a narrator just talk is just not going to cut it anymore. I thought he did a good job.
I mean, it still will for Morgan Freeman. I'm just saying.
The guy that's been old our whole lives.
He played God in the movie, okay? Oh, man.
I mean, do you have anything else, JP, on this one?
I was just glancing at the directors because I actually didn't look at what they had done previously. The one director, I mean, he looks like he's not done a lot.
Yarrow and Scott we're talking about. Scott was not even mentioned in the main IMDb. The
Scott Moser.
Yeah, but he was left kind of to the side on that IMDb. I noticed I had to click it open to expand it to see him.
Yeah.
Did you know who does the voice for the mayor?
Yeah. I can't remember the name now, but I did.
Angela Lansbury.
That's right.
That was phenomenal. My wife said at some point, I don't know if she mixed it up, but I couldn't find it in the credits. Is Betty White in this in some way? Did she have a voice credit in this?
I don't think so.
I think my wife mixed her and Angela Lansbury up.
She did.
Oh, speaking of the wife, next time you see Jess, ask her to say Benedict Cumberbatch. Dude, this woman cannot say Cumberbatch for the life for some reason. I've never heard somebody stutter through a word or struggle through a name ever so much, and we just sit and laugh whenever she tries. So if you want to get a good giggle, have her do that.
So yeah, I didn't realize
I think saying Benedict would be harder.
No.
I didn't realize Scott Moser was was one of the directors on this though. I mean, he's the guy that worked with Kevin Smith like from the beginning and was in all the Clerks movies and all that too. So.
And then they snubbed him and kept him out of the main credit.
Yeah.
Had to expand on him.
Well, he's in there.
You know who is one of the other big additional voices in this? You won't get this reference, but Hugh definitely will. Tara Strong. She does multiple additional voices in this. And if you're not familiar with her, she's been Raven, Batgirl. She was Miss Minutes in Loki, Harley Quinn. She's been Barbara Gordon. She was Bubbles in Powerpuff Girls. Like, she's had a great career. So, and Noah came up to me the other day too, and it made me think she's one of the people I think of when I think of prominent voice actors as well. But he came up to me the other day. He's, Dad, if I'm not going to be a storm chaser, I think I want to be a voice actor. I'm like, okay. I guess there's a school here in Cleveland, so he's got the options open at 12.
That'd be fun.
Well, what was the box office on this one?
The budget.
Yeah, what was the
budget? The budget was $75 million.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. The budget on this was.
This movie crushed.
Yeah, it made a lot of money though.
Yeah, like one of the highest ones we've had, for sure.
This movie made $527 million.
Mm.
Well, I have in U.S. it made $227 million, and then worldwide $540 million.
Well, just looking right here at a quick glance, but yours may. I don't know where you got yours. Maybe more. Yours.
So I could be off.
Let's go to the one that's usually pretty accurate here. And where are you at? Oh. Well, according to this, and usually
another different number.
Usually, Box Office Mojo is usually pretty correct, and it's saying 512 million. Regardless, it made over $500 million. You know, on whichever one we go off of. Yeah,
it says a lot too. Like, I'm happy that people got out and took their kids to see this. I'm happy that it is continuing on. I'm happy that they did it so well and they cared enough. It seems like they put the time into this movie to not just be another remake, but just a good family movie.
That's kind of my thing. There was thought behind it.
Yeah. I did look. There's another Grinch thing that came out in 24, but I didn't even look at that. I don't know. I just saw that and I was yeah.
No, I missed that. I didn't.
Yeah, because when IMDb initially, it was wherever I watched Grinch, I went in there and I clicked play on something. It was it was none of the actors that I knew. It was nothing that looked anything like 2018. And I'm like, oh yeah, 18. So I went back in and got it all righted. I don't have too much else on this one. No. I just really dig on this. So
it's the Grinch. We all know the story.
You know what I mean? One.
But if you're looking for an updated version of the movie that didn't suck, this is a good one to watch.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a good one for the kids.
Your choice. So go ahead. What's your rating?
Well, like I was saying, kind of at the beginning of the episode. I mean, I still prefer the original, nostalgia-wise, for me. If I'm going to watch an animated one. For me, I'm going to watch the original. If I want to watch anything different from it, I feel like I would go to the Jim Carrey live action one after that. So that's why, for me, this one would be my third one that I would want to watch out of the three. But that being said, I see the appeal for this one.
sure.
I understand. I understand the appeal for it. I understand that this movie was made for younger generation of today, and it wasn't made for me. This film was made for a younger generation for today. The original Grinch was made for us.
The original Grinch, we weren't alive.
Well, but it still stood the test of time to that point, to even when we were young. Because animation didn't change much in that gap until we were from that time until we were young.
You're not far off in that, because like thinking about the Grinch and then going to like the Smurfs, like there's not a big gap.
No, there's not a big change. There's not a big gap.
Yeah.
They still, just like Hanna-Barbera did, they would reuse backgrounds and things of that nature. So a lot of the animations between 1950 and 1985, there wasn't a major difference in animation and how they did things. It wasn't until the mid 80s when you had Disney starting to change how they did their animation. But Disney started changing how they did their animation because of how the Japanese were doing their animation when Akira came out. Akira was the big one that kind of kicked off that we got to rethink what we're doing, because
Akira was the reason I started watching anime.
Yeah,
like it was amazing.
I mean, and Akira was that movie that poked Disney to say, we got to change because they just did this on film. We have to change because what they're doing over there with films like Akira, we can't keep making animation this way. So until that point, animation didn't leap ahead too much. So yeah, the original one was older, but there wasn't a big leap in animation until the mid 80s. But again, I get the appeal for this generation for this movie. For me, I'm kind of landing a little above the middle. I'm going to give this a even 3. It's not that it's a bad movie. It's just kind of okay. So this is a good movie, but it's just not for me. So
fair. For me, any excuse to watch a movie with my kids, as I talked about earlier, is an amazing experience for me. I'm happy to do that whenever. So for me, the fact that my son cared so much that I was watching it, the fact that it's Christmas oriented, it can bring families together, it teaches lessons, it's got a new approach. The soundtrack is pretty amazing too. I was happy with this movie. I was pleasantly surprised while watching it. I didn't want to give it a go at first because of, I was put off by Pharrell as narrator. I was put off by multiple aspects of this, the main theme song even. But in watching it, I couldn't have been happier in making the decision. Happier that I have another movie to watch with the family. So I'm gonna go 3.7 nerds for me.
I give it a 4.3 for me.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy the new animation. The only reason why I'm a little lower actually on that is because as much as I thought Pharrell did a good job, I feel like when they go to the whole hip hop kind of vibe, I feel like that's just overdone.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of over it. And I like in commercials, everything's got to be a hip hop vibe, and it's just like it turns me off. It's not because I play in a metal band, but it's just because it's like it's almost tried too hard to make it forced in there, and that's kind of my problem.
But that's the generation they're going after.
That's
what they listen to.
This is my rating. And that's just where I'm at with it. Like I mean, it worked well, but I also
that's a fair rating though.
Kind of over it.
That's an honest.
I'm
one,
over
though.
the whole like everything's got to be a hip hop thing, and Sprite commercials have to be some kind of weird rapping thing and hip hop thing. Like I'm kind of just. It worked, don't get me wrong, but I'm just kind of over it.
Life of Pets, when Ringworm was in it, made my whole life. Instead of hearing the hip-hop thing and hearing that kind of metal, that was spectacular. But all right, cool. Those are all some solid ratings. Good Christmas movie, good feels. 3 CineNerds CineNerds@gmail.com is the email if you guys want to reach out, ask us questions, give suggestions, all the fun. And then your listening platforms are all in our bio on our Facebook page. So go ahead and check that out, and check out that merch link too, because we want to get the swag out there, get the name out there. And I'll let JP say his routine.
Like, share, subscribe, write a review.
Well, you repeated. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That was a repeater. You did it.
Write a review. We love to read them. Go to our Facebook page, write a review. Do it on our Apple Podcast page. Invite your friends.
The big one for me with this, I'm going to chime in, is just that, especially with independent bands, up-and-coming bands, podcasts, any kind of creator, if you will, if you like what someone's doing, not just us, anyone, the easiest and cheapest option is free, and it's literally sharing. You help put the word out there, and it means so much to all of us that are making this content. So please do so, and we appreciate you for it.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
See
Merry
ya.
Christmas.
Later.